There's a guy in every gym. You know him. He's been training for 6 years, looks roughly the same as year 2, and he's absolutely certain he knows everything. He corners you mid-set, doesn't wait for you to rack the bar, just starts talking. Bro, you gotta feel the burn. Bro, you're not even sore tomorrow, what's the point? Bro, machines are for beginners. And here's the weird part. He sounds confident, like he's passing down ancient wisdom. And because confidence is contagious, you start believing him. You adjust your training. You chase soreness. You ditch the leg press. You add 3 scoops of pre-workout and wonder why your heart's doing cardio without you. This video is called 20 Gym BRO Advice That Ruins Progress. And yeah, we're going through all 20. Not because gym bros are evil. Most of them genuinely want to help. But a lot of what floats around locker rooms is just slightly wrong, or completely wrong, or technically true in one narrow context, but applied like a universal law. Quick note before we dive in. This is general training info, not medical advice. If something's off with your body, talk to an actual professional, not the guy who learned anatomy from a t-shirt. Now, these 20 pieces of advice, they sound smart, they feel productive, and they quietly wreck progress for thousands of lifters every year. Some of them you've probably heard this week. Some of them you might believe right now. Let's fix that. Number 1, if you're not sore, it didn't work. This one's everywhere, and it makes sense on the surface. Soreness feels like proof. You wake up, your legs hurt, and your brain goes, yes, growth is happening. Except soreness isn't a growth receipt. It's mostly tied to novelty and eccentric stress. Your muscles get sore when they do something unfamiliar, not necessarily something productive. You can grow with almost no soreness once you're adapted. You can also be crippled for 3 days after a workout that did basically nothing useful. The real problem? Chasing soreness makes people jump from program to program, exercise to exercise, never building consistency that actually drives muscle growth. They skip sessions when they're not sore, guess it didn't count, and overtrain when they are. Better rule, track performance. Reps load, sets control. Soreness is just noise. Number 2, always train to failure or you're wasting time. Failure feels hardcore. It's simple, binary. Either you went there or you didn't. And yeah, proximity to failure matters for hypertrophy. But always failing? That's a different story. Going to true failure on every set crushes your recovery, wrecks your technique on big lifts, and often reduces your total weekly volume, actual driver. You end up with these brutal sessions followed by missed sessions because you're too fried to show up. The smarter move is living near failure. Leave a rep or 2 in the tank on compounds. Save true failure for isolation stuff or your last set. You still get the stimulus. You just don't pay the tax every single time. Number 3, never use machines. Free weights only. This is gym culture cosplay. Free weights look real. Machines look like training wheels. So people avoid the leg press like it's admitting weakness. But here's the thing. Research doesn't show clear hypertrophy differences between machines and free weight. What machines do is remove limiting factors. Less balance demand. Less low back fatigue. More direct tension on the target muscle. That's not cheating. That's efficiency. Use both. Free weights build coordination and strength skill. Machines let you hammer a muscle without your stabilizers giving out first. Pretending one is superior is just identity politics for lifters. Number 4, more sweat means more fat loss. The guy who celebrates losing 2 pounds after a hard cardio session, then gains it back after drinking water. That's sweat math. Sweat is temperature regulation. It's your body cooling itself. You can sweat buckets in a sauna and lose 0 fat. Fat loss happens through sustained energy balance over time, not puddles on the gym floor. Chasing sweat leads to weird habits. Extra layers, avoiding water, obsessing over scale weight that means nothing. Meanwhile, the stuff that actually matters, strength progression, diet consistency, sleep, gets ignored. Better approach. Track weekly trends. Body weight averages, waist measurements, performance in the gym. Sweat is not a metric. Number 5, cardio kills gains, so avoid it completely. There's a grain of truth here, buried under a pile of panic. Yes, there's something called the interference effect. Yes, tons of endurance work can slightly blunt strength and hypertrophy adaptations. But slightly got turned into cardio is poison somewhere along the way. Zero cardio often means garbage work capacity. You gas out before your muscles do. Sessions get shorter. Recovery gets worse because your cardiovascular system is undertrained. And long-term, ignoring your heart is a bad investment. The fix isn't avoiding cardio. It's doing cardio smart. Manage volume. Pick joint-friendly options. Don't run a 10K the morning before heavy squats. It's not complicated. Number 6. Heavy weight is all that matters. Reps don't. The bro who can bench a big single but never actually grows. Every set is a grinding, ugly near-death experience. His nervous system is fried. His joints hurt. His chest looks the same as last year. Heavy lifting has its place, but hypertrophy can happen across a wide rep range, as long as sets are hard enough and volume is adequate. Living exclusively in the 1 to 3 rep zone accumulates joint stress without building enough total work. Better approach: use multiple rep ranges across the week, heavy for strength and skill, moderate and higher reps for volume and tissue tolerance. You need both. One without the other is incomplete. Number 7. Lightweight is all that matters. Heavy is dangerous. The opposite extreme. The lifter doing endless 30-rep sets, always exhausted, never stronger. They've been using the same weights for a year because heavy is risky. Heavy loads, properly progressed, aren't dangerous. They're necessary for building strength. The risk comes from bad progression, not the existence of heaviness. Staying too light caps your potential and turns training into fatigue accumulation without adaptation. The answer is progressive loading with solid technique. Heavy sometimes, not always. Earn the weight. Don't fear it. Number 8. You need to confuse the muscle every workout. Muscles don't get confused. They don't have opinions. They adapt to repeated, progressive stress. Confuse the muscle is marketing language dressed up as science. It sounds smart, creates soreness, and sells workout programs. But what it actually does is prevent you from ever getting good at anything. You never practice movements long enough to progress. Your logbook becomes useless because nothing repeats. Better rule: keep key movement stable for weeks. Rotate accessories when needed. Progress load, reps, and quality over time. Consistency beats chaos every single time. Number 9. If you're bulking, eat anything. Dirty bulk is faster. The pizza bulk guy. Scales flying up. He's huge. Then cutting season arrives and he vanishes for 8 months. Yes, a caloric surplus drives weight gain, but quality and rate matter. Too aggressive, and you're just gaining fat you'll spend forever losing. Poor food quality can wreck sleep, digestion, and training performance, quietly undermining the whole point. A controlled surplus with protein targets and performance-focused carbs is boring. It's also sustainable. You actually keep the muscle when you're done. Number 10. If you're cutting, carbs are the enemy. Drop carbs, watch the scale plummet. Boom, it works, right? Except most of that initial drop is water and glycogen, not fat. And now your training performance tanks because carbs fuel high-intensity work. You feel flat, weak, and irritable. Adherence craters. You mistake depleted muscles for lean muscles. Carbs aren't the enemy. They're fuel. Adjust them to your training. Keep enough to actually perform, especially around lifting sessions. The carbs are evil. Crowd often cheats on heavy days anyway. They just won't admit it. Number 11. Protein shakes are mandatory or you won't grow. Shakes are convenient. They're also heavily marketed with fear. You need this or you won't recover. It's brilliant business. Terrible advice. Total daily protein matters. Food works fine. Supplementation helps. But benefits plateau pretty quickly once you're hitting reasonable targets. You don't need the anabolic window shake. You don't need the special blend. You need consistent meals and enough total protein. Use shakes as a convenience tool, not a magic growth potion. The boring skill of meal planning beats the exciting ritual of powder worship. Number 12. Pre-workout is basically required to train hard. The bro who can't train today because he forgot his tub. That's dependency dressed up as discipline. Stimulants create an obvious on switch. The ritual becomes permission to perform. But relying on pre-workout often masks real problems. Bad sleep, inconsistent nutrition, poor recovery habits. And when you're already undertrained, pushing intensity with stimulants just digs a hole deeper. Build a start ritual that doesn't require a scoop. Warm-up sequence. Music. Consistent sleep. Caffeine if you want it, but not as a crutch. Number 13. Stretch more and your lifts will instantly explode. Stretching looks productive. It feels clean. And flexibility seems like it should help. But long static stretching immediately before lifting can actually reduce performance. There's something called stretch-induced force deficit. You feel weaker, blame yourself, and assume you need more stretching. Warm up dynamically. Train strength through range. If flexibility is a specific goal, stretch separately. Stretching isn't bad, timing and intent matter. Number 14. Never let your knees go past your toes. The guy who screams knees across the gym while his own squat turns into a weird good morning hybrid. Classic. This rule sounds protective. It's also biomechanically nonsense for most people. Depending on your limb lengths, keeping knees behind toes might be impossible without falling backward. Forcing it shifts stress to your hips and lower back. Let your knees track naturally over your toes with control. Manage depth and load based on your structure, not some rule someone heard in 1987. Number 15. Lockouts are cheating. People see others rest at the top of a rep and assume they're dodging work. Instagram loves constant tension reps with zero lockout. But lockout is part of the movement. Controlled lockouts train end range strength and stability. The problem isn't lockout. It's slamming into it or using it as a nap break mid-set. Own full range with control. If you want constant tension for a specific reason, program it intentionally. Don't just amputate the rep because you saw it online. Number 16. Partial reps are cheating. People abuse partials for ego. Quarter squats for big numbers. Bouncy bench presses that travel 4 inches. So the backlash becomes all partials are bad. But strategic partials have uses. Overload in specific ranges. Lengthen partials for extra stimulus. Extending sets safely. The problem is accidental partials from laziness, not intentional ones from programming. Default to full range of motion for growth. Use partials as a tool when it makes sense, not as a coping mechanism for weight you can't actually handle. Number 17. Belts are cheating. The belt doesn't lift the weight. It lets you brace harder. That's it. Belts increase intra-abdominal pressure, which can reduce spinal stress and improve performance on heavy lifts. They're a tool, not a substitute for core strength, and not a sign of weakness. Learn to brace properly first, then use a belt for heavier work. The purity test crowd can keep their opinions while you keep your spine healthy. Number 18. Straps are cheating. The bro with massive forearms and a mediocre back. Every pulling set ends at my grip gave out. His lats never get fully trained because his hands quit first. That's not hardcore. That's leaving gains on the table. Straps let you train pulling muscles without grip being the bottleneck. Train grip separately. Carries. Holds, whatever. But when grip limits back development, straps are the obvious fix. It's not cheating. It's actually training the target muscle. Number 19. Squats and deadlifts are all you need for a full physique. Minimalism is seductive. Just do the big lifts sounds hardcore and efficient. But squats and deadlifts don't build everything. Lats need direct work. Shoulders need direct work. Arms, calves, upper chest. All of it needs attention that compounds don't fully provide. The just squat and deadlift crowd often has great legs and a very average upper body. Compounds are the foundation. Accessories address what they miss. You need both. Number 20. If your form isn't perfect, you shouldn't lift heavy ever. The loudest perfect form guy in the comment section. 2 years of training. Same weights the entire time. Waiting for the day is technique becomes flawless before adding a plate. That day never comes. Form is a spectrum. Technique improves under progressively heavier loads, not by staying in the kiddie pool forever. What matters is controlled reps, appropriate progression, and avoiding sloppy breakdown. Good enough form plus gradual overload beats paralysis by perfectionism. Push the weight up. Keep the heaviest work crisp. Stop waiting for permission. 20 pieces of advice. All of them confident. Most of them wrong, or at least wrong when applied as universal law. The pattern is always the same. Someone takes a real concept, strips out the nuance, and turns it into a rule that sounds smart but quietly wrecks progress. Soreness becomes the goal. Failure becomes mandatory. Carbs become poison. And people spin their wheels for years, following rules that were never rules at all. Training isn't that complicated. Progressive overload. Enough volume. Enough protein. Enough sleep. Consistency over months and years. That's most of it. The rest is details. And details shouldn't become religions. Next time someone corners you mid-set with unsolicited wisdom, just nod. Finish your reps, and keep doing what actually works. If this helped, consider subscribing. More videos like this are coming. Stuff that cuts through the noise and gets you actual results instead of gym folklore.